Guys, today what I want to do is take you round the Mike Taylor Education 5-point haircut. This is what we've developed for the easiest way to get round a basic gents haircut. We do it in our training centres all over, and it's some way that we really teach the students, because what a lot of our students are, they're people that have never held a pair of scissors or clippers before, and they need to learn the bases, and everything is about standardisation and the way of doing things correctly. I always believe in barbering. It's very artistic and there's loads of different ways to do things, but you've got to stick to the same way to learn, and then you can change it all up. Basically, you can't break the rules till you know the rules. So stage one of a 5-point haircut is going around the perimeter with the clippers. Stage two, we take the bulk off. Stage three, we cut the top. Stage four, we refine the blend. Stage five, we go around the outline. And I'm going to explain all of this. So let's start with clippers. Holding the clippers. I'm using these super tapers because to me they're very good for holding. As you can see, you've got a place there for your thumb, and on the back you can see the ridges where you can put your fingers. So there you go, you've got a good grip of your clippers. None of this weak wrists like that. You need to have complete control of your clippers. So we're just going to do this nice and basic. So we do it, I'll tell you what we do, a number two guard, two sides and back, trim on top. So again, putting your clipper guard on, put to the front of the teeth, hear that click. Make sure it's on correctly. And now, this is a bugbearer of mine. Always have a comb in your hand when you're using clippers. Do not ever just use your fingers or nothing at all. You should always get used to, even if you're not using the comb, always get used to one hand having a comb in. It's very important. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come up the clippers nice and slowly and just use the head shape and come out again. So a lot of questions I get, let me turn that round for you, is how high up do you go? Basically, you come up using the head shape. Most male shapes are square. So what we want to do is use the masculine part of the head shape and just come out. But coming around slowly. I know you'll see a lot of barbers do this very quick, but they've been doing it for a long time. You need to learn that you're picking up all of the hair. So you're coming around nice and slowly in all directions. And then when we reach the back, you'll come up, and if you're coming up and out to the head shape, you'll just get to or past the occipital bone, which is there, okay? You should not be coming up and around. If you come up and around, you'll be taking too much weight off. There is haircuts that you do go up and around if it's high and tight, but in a general, basic 5-point haircut, short back and sides, we're just working with the head shape, okay? That's stage one now completed. Stage two, working around the perimeter, clipper over comb. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this out at 90 degrees, and then I'm coming straight along and taking out that weight. So if you can see this, I'm coming along and just removing the weight, okay? As this is a number two, when I'm removing, I've got to come out a little bit. If it was a number one or a 0.5, I'd come close. So if you're number four, you come out a bit more. So you can always take more off, but you can't put it back. So I'm coming out. So as you can see, I'm moving it nice and slowly. I've got my clippers in place and I'm just, with my comb at a slight angle and just taking away that bulk. Now stage 3 of the 5-point haircut. So you wet the hair down and we'll cut the top. Now let me explain a few things. So a lot of barbers, when they cut hair, they cut front to back, which they go, you see this a lot in barber shops. But at Mike Taylor Education, what we teach you to do is go back to front. Because when you first learn, you need to learn sections. So there's nothing wrong with going front to back. There's nothing wrong with going back to front. It's just a different way of doing it. But when people first learn to cut hair, if they were just grabbing hair like this, they'd never learn how to use their comb properly and take a section. So it's so important, sectioning. That's why if you get it right at the start, and then you'll be all right all along. But if at the start, if you're doing it and just pulling hair up, you'll never learn to take proper sections and your haircuts won't be as good as what they could be. So what we do is I always say, make a section from ear to ear. So we section from ear to ear, and then I section to the temples. So I've got myself a nice straight section there. And I'll follow this through to the front of the head. And then we go to the sides. Taking off that corner. And then, this is quite important, into your blend. Now, a little top tip, with the left-hand side, you'll find a lot of guys out there have the left-hand side that little bit longer. And the reason for that is because when the barber cuts the left-hand side, after a tiring day, their elbow goes, yeah? So it goes like that, and then it comes slightly longer. So, you've got to make sure your elbow is tucked in when cutting the left side, or move your fingers round to palm. Okay, that's a top tip because you'll find that happens a lot. I've even worked with barbers that sort of thought their work was getting shoddy because they kept leaving it long on one side and they didn't realise it was just from their posture. So it's so important at the start to realise the left-hand side. And obviously, if you're left-handed, it will work around the other side. It'll be the right-hand side you'll have problems with. So to make this easier, I always say to my students, when you're coming around the left-hand side, if you are right-handed, walk round, you've got legs, use them, and then come round and take the corner for the blend on the other side. And then follow this into the back. Remember, you cross-check the other way that you cut. So always cut one way and cross-check the other way. Okay? Right, the next part of the haircut is stage 4. Stage 4 is refining your blend. Scissor, clipper over comb. I like to now use my scissors to refine the blend. Yeah, so not too fast. We want to work nice and slowly. So what you're doing is you're looking at what you feel needs to be blended in. Use your scissors. And then comb back down, have a look for your next bit. See the way I'm working, nice and slowly. I see a lot of, don't want bouncing, don't want too fast, just nice and controlled. Now on my 5-point haircut, I just want to refine the lines. So let's have a recap. I've gone around the perimeter to the bulk, I've taken away the weight, I've layered the top, and I refined my blend. Now I'm just 0.5 going around the outline. So I'm going to go to the sideburns. Little tip, when you're using the trimmers, again, hold them by the neck, but make sure the blade angles down towards the nose. If you use it straight, like this, sometimes it will come like an angle, where if you put it at a slight angle towards the nose, it will look straight. And then use the edge of the trimmer around the ear like that. No one wants wheel arches. What I mean by that is you can really mess a haircut up if you come too in, so that you see too much skin. So you've really got to keep the blades close to the ear. And my tip for a trimmer, these D3s are excellent, these Andis D3s, because they take it nice and tight, but they're not too heavy on the customer's skin. What I mean by that, they're a good all-round trimmer, because when you're doing children's hair, if you use a trimmer that's too tight, you can get red marks. And I find with these take it in nice and tight, but they're very gentle on the skin. So now working your way to the back, obviously it's not the same on a head block as it is the human person, but in general, what I like to do is always taper haircuts. I don't believe there's a square line on anyone's body. So I always say to the customer, in barbershops in general, people say, how do you want it, squared or tapered? But I don't. I always say, should I taper this? And if they say, no, I want it squared, I'll do it squared. But in general, I think tapered lines grow out a lot better. And remember, the perimeter of the haircut is your business card. That is what people see at the bank. That's when the guy comes home and his wife looks at his hair and says, oh, that's a nice haircut. So the better you can do that, the more chance you have of returning. And sometimes if you put a big square line in, it doesn't grow out correctly. So I always say, if you can, taper the haircut. So we just work just down the natural line and then taper that. Just using trimmer over comb. And then round the back, I like to taper first. We all see all different necklines. So taper first, then if you need to take any little bits off, then you can do that. But generally just try and get it as natural as possible. So students, that completes the Mike Taylor Education 5-point haircut. This is something that you'll be doing in the academy time and time again and again and again. And it's really good just to know the steps, because the first stage in your barbering tutorial will be working methodically. And the thing is, when you first start, you'll cut too much hair off, or you'll get lost and you'll go over and over and over. So what it is just remember the 5 steps. Keep watching this video and remember the 5 steps so they're embedded in, because that's your first big box to tick on your journey. Now I'm just going to dry this off. Always dry your client's hair, no matter what, just to check the haircut afterwards and to make sure you do a proper service. This is my brush of choice, the Denman bent brush. Every barber you talk to will have favourite tools. I think this is mine. And when drying hair, always start at the back, again, work forward to make sure you've dried everywhere. You can't leave any areas damp. Making sure when you do the other side, switch hands. Right, now always add product if the client wants to. I always say to all my students to talk to the client and advise them. We're not just there to cut their hair. We need to blow dry their hair. We need to finish their hair. So what I'm going to do is just add a touch of the Mike Taylor Education fibre, just to take away a little bit of fluffiness and finish the look of the 5-point haircut.